Hi, my name's Ken. We're here today with Dave Rees of Lodi, UK, on farms looking at the new Rodent Harmonix Rodent Paste. We've produced a series of how to use guides for you to have a look at.
So we're going to look at Harmonix Rodent Paste. It's a 20-gram sachet full of fats and oils and good things that make it attractive. We're going to show you how to put it out, where to put it, how to use it. We'll be putting it out because we know we've got an established rodent population here on site. Monitoring baits that we could use at the same time is once we've got this problem under control, we can then put down a monitoring bait to know what we've got in the future. We can put up to 200 grams per bait point. Between 1 and 200 grams is good. Every sort of 3 to 10 meters, depending on infestation. A good amount is to put sort of 100, 150 grams per bait point. I probably would be keener to put enough bait points in the linear meterage. I wouldn't go above sort of 6 or 7 meters. Once you're trying to get them to feed, you can go in 2 or 3 days later and take up bait if it's not being taken, but you need to try and get that bait takes early doors. Just putting them onto a board, screw a screw, nail, we can just push them over, hold them on there. There's 60 grams there, 80 grams, 100 grams, quite easily fits on there. You can go and take that and put that around your building. Putting them, as I say, every sort of 4 or 5 meters down to sort of 3 meters is good. Get that bait in there. You've established your problem, you know you've got one. You'd be expecting them to check that within 24 hours of putting it down. If you've got bait takes and those have gone, you can either double up and put it on the extra screw. You could put half on each screw. You've got options, but you can't let those rats run out. They need to keep eating. At day 2, they'll stop eating. It'll have the stop feed effect. So you will potentially see a decline in the amount of bait being taken. That's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. You need to see that happening. But keeping the bait there as they go through their hierarchy cycles. You've got dominant rats will come and take their feed. They'll move up the cycles. Your less dominant rats will come and take their feed, and then your juveniles will come. That's when you're trying to get your 7-day control. Topping up of the bait is key. Keeping bait in front of them, keeping it in a position where you finished your campaign, you know you've got no rats left. You can then retrieve that bait, take it up, and stop the environmental problems that we get by leaving bait down, non-targets. You cannot just place bait on its own unless it's protected in a bait station and fixed in a bait station. You cannot just place bait anywhere. Using a bait station, the covering of the bait, whichever you're more comfortable with on farm. If you've already got established bait stations where you know you've got rats coming to and using, putting the Harmonix bait within that bait station, fantastic. We've covered all the boxes. Using bait like this on nails and screws, we need to cover that. We're going to show you now in a minute what to do, where to place it, and we can cover that up. If you pick that up and you've placed it there on your run, then you look at it and you pick it up. Now you put it here, bit of a waste of time because that rat knew it was here. It's now moved. He now becomes a little bit more shy of it. They get that urine trail going, and once they get that scent and they're following it, you put something in the way of that scent, they suddenly go, ooh, it's changed. I'm gonna change my route. They leave the bait behind and go somewhere else. And if they don't come across bait and they go back to the spilt food, something around them, they're not getting the bait. And ultimately we need them to take that bait. So making that attractive by keeping it in situ as long as you can. If they're not taking it on sort of day 5, 6, yes, potentially move that bait point. It's no use. Move it to somewhere where they are taking it, but you need to hold your nerve that they will just take it within a few days. So today we're on a poultry farm with Ken. The product that we're going to use today is Harmonix Rodent Paste. We're going to have a tour around the farm looking at key areas to see what activity we can find, and if we can find activity, we'll then place some bait. We're on a poultry unit today looking to use Harmonix Rodent Paste to gain control of a rodent problem. We're going to do a survey and check what we can find. We're going to go down here and see what we can come up with. I don't know what's pulling that out of there, but something is, isn't it? The door just not quite fit in there. You'd probably get a mouse, at least, if not a rat, to go through the back of there and come up behind there, because behind there will be the chicken muck and the building. So really that needs proofing up if we don't think there's any activity. If there is activity, we need to be trying to bait here. See, this door seems to be fitting better. There's a bait point here. That probably could do with some monitoring bait or some baiting if we think there's activity, and we could get that sorted out, couldn't we? But see, that looks, chicken's totally better fit, doesn't it, that one, compared to, hello chicken. Obviously there is an access point for rats and mice. If they're out here, is through the laying unit, through the pop holes. They can obviously pop straight in, can't they? But it's late at night when that sort of happens rather than the day. But I think it is a problem. Once they get in there, then they can get into the slatted area of the building, can't they? So, but that's the point there. We'll have a look at it. So we've got an existing bait station here that we have put Harmonix Rodent Paste in. We've got the activity, they're scratching out muck from here. This being existing, the rats are more likely to accept this a lot quicker than they are putting a bait point and covering it over. So we use what's here, that bait point, because we know there's here. We put 200 grams, the maximum amount, in this bait station to get plenty of bait here waiting for them. We'll check this again tomorrow. This area, obviously being the feed bins, is a potential area for feed spills and the likes. If it do get spilt feed, it needs clearing up to make it less attractive. If you have got spilt feed, you will attract rats, you will attract mice, and then you've got a bait. If you just clear it up, keep it tidy like this, you don't have a problem.
Have they had activity in here, Dave?
I haven't seen any.
Right.
I'd almost guarantee there probably is a mouse in the shed. With those doors being a little bit open either end, it wouldn't surprise me whether there isn't a mouse just scratching a bit at that. And if they get in that muck, then I've seen thousands of mice in there.
So with this being an egg packing area, and obviously a food area,
It's a serious area that we protect, yes.
that you've got to be looking at and observing and looking for signs of infestation.
Yeah. So the egg packing room of a poultry shed is an area to monitor. It's high risk for mice. They will get in it. Just checking cupboards, sinks, under everywhere. Egg conveyor belts, they will run down the egg conveyor belts, gain access to the building and from the building, so onto here. Obviously in here, 1,003 wires that need protecting. There it's a big risk, big fire risk. That's why we protect it. We need bait in a few places really. The Harmonix rodent bait is good for it. You could look putting bait potentially behind those sort of stairs. It's out of the way, safe there, put it in a bait station. Ducts and stuff, these are all filled in with foam, but keep an eye on them. They obviously from that duct, it travels everywhere within the building. That's the main electric cable into it. We don't want them chewing that. All the control panels and everything, sometimes they'll get in this electric ducting. Again, it's a perfect home for them to travel all throughout the building. We don't want that, so keeping an eye on it. You can pull one or two of these ducts off just to check that you've not got any activity. Putting a little bit of monitoring bait in there is good. Quite often freezers and the likes we will have, they get in the back of the freezers. It's warm, insulated, just keep an eye on it. But you can put a mouse bait station in behind there and keep an eye on it. Again, the same, your egg packer, conveyors, they're all just areas that you need to keep an eye on. So we're going to place bait points. In this sort of situation, I'd probably put 6 or 8 bait points. More is better. It's retrievable within a bait station. If you put too many, it's not a bad thing. So we can put a bait point under there, nice and secure against there. We can put another one. We'll have to clamber under here somewhere, but this is probably a good little place. Climb under, put them back against the wall. I'll be running along there. Again, checking to see what you've got around you. If you can see more activity somewhere, place a bait point under something like this. We can place it and go again towards the back and place it under there. It's good little places for them. So we're going to do some burrow baiting. We've got 100 grams of Harmonix Rodent bait here. If we put it in the front of the hole and then just guide it down into the hole just a good distance from where they are, and then place a board over the front of the hole just to block it in, stop non-targets get in there, and just make the rat a little bit less likely to want to come out, so he's more likely to eat the bait inside. So a good reason to block over the hole is to stop the rat expelling the bait, injecting that bait back out of there. Suddenly it becomes in the open. It could be down here, so any other non-targets can come along and pick it up. If you just cover it over, it stops them doing it quite so easily. I think if you leave them open, they are more likely to expel it, but like that hole, they're less likely to expel than they are that one. Because he's more vertical, it's harder for them to chuck it back up. If you put it down that one, they're less likely to chuck it back out. So this bait point, now we've put it here, needs checking daily at least, just to check that nothing has been expelled and nothing has happened. Obviously, if you find any dead rodents, you need to pick those up, and any spilled bait, either put it back down the hole or retrieve it and take it away. And then what you've got gone, you need to replenish that bait. So if it's gone within, say, a day and you've put 100 grams, you can double that up to 200 grams if they're still feeding. But just bear in mind, day 2 you'll have the stop feeding effect, so they will stop feeding. You just need to keep a little bit of bait there then for the younger rats to come up to. Existing hedgerow that's probably got activity in it. We've got activity down here. We've already got the perfect tunnel, this piece of tin we can lift. We know they're happy with it. We know they will use this area. So if we position that under there, it's a perfect run. They're happy with it. It's already in their environment. They saw it yesterday, they'll see it tomorrow, and they will use that and find the bait, and we get bait takes quick. Best way of getting a rat or mouse really to take bait is to try and leave everything undisturbed by putting bait in their environment in a safe covered place. If you can find stuff that's already here, if you do a lot of movement and moving bait, they then have a natural fear factor not to take on the new bait that you've put down, because you've added a new thing to their environment and changed their environment, so now they don't like it. So you'll struggle to get bait takes. And we've got a bit more natural coverage there, haven't we, to produce the tunnel we want, like that. We've got a good place. They'll come through in here and run along there. And that intake, it looks like there's been quite a lot of rat activity round and down in there.
Harmonix Rodent Paste is the latest addition to Lodi's Gems range. It contains a new active called cholecalciferol with a new mode of action. It allows quicker control of rodents on the farm. It uses less bait of up to 50% and quick control. I hope you found those videos useful. Please refer to the Lodi UK website for further information. Always follow crew guidance when using rodenticides. Please use them safely and follow the label on the packs at all times.